Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Retro Muscle. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different from the last. It's not going to be complete contest history, but it was originally intended to only be a training routine video, and of course, I opened a can of worms. It started with this magazine here, Muscle Digest, April 1979. Features Samir Bannout on the cover. It's a really great magazine. And inside, it has three great routines from three champion bodybuilders, John Defendis, Bertil Fox, and Casey Viator. And I was going to start with Casey first, and as I was reading the routine, I realized it wasn't just any old routine. This was his year leading up to the 1978 Mr. Universe competition. And he had taken a long time off, so this was his first go back into, the competition world. And not only did it come with that piece of information, but it also came with the whole entire interview by Cliff Brownfield. And when I started reading it, I started seeing some pretty interesting things. Some would say fighting words, but let's start from the beginning first. Casey Viator is an American-born bodybuilder from Louisiana of Spanish and French descent. He started competing in 1969, and he probably won his most notable titles in 1970 and 71, winning the Teen Mr. America and the Mr. America at just 19 years old, which I believe is a record. He had a lot going for him, and he just kind of fell off the map. But anyway, thankfully, Cliff Brownfield in the interview asked Casey what the whole, absence from bodybuilding was about. So let's see what he says here. After you win the Mr. America, where do you go? You go to Weider. And Weider is a weird little octopus there in the corner, It's kind of hard to halfway associate with him. You have to just about get up to your hip boots before you can really be accepted and get square deals. This kind of thing bothers me. So that's more or less why. That's the main reason for my absence. That's pretty interesting. So I'm assuming that Casey must have had a sour business deal go down with the Weeders, or maybe they just didn't see eye to eye. I can see it going both ways. A young, cocky teenager, you just win Mr. America. I mean, you probably think your shit doesn't stink and you're top dollar, and, Joe's not going to pay that. But I could also see maybe the Weeders thinking this is just a kid, what does he know, and maybe underselling him. Who knows? I wasn't there. But anyway, Cliff continued to press him with some questions, asking why did he choose NABBA. So Viator says, I felt that the contest had a little meaning, and people there treated me real good until I got off the plane in London. Then I began to feel a little bit of hesitation from everyone. As a matter of fact, before I put my posing trunks on, I knew I had lost. Yeah, so that sounds a little paranoid, but I guess I can understand, because he goes on to say that a couple of people told him after he landed that the winner was already picked, and that would be Dave Johns. And then when the actual competition starts, Casey says that the class that he was in, medium, it goes from 5'6" to 5'9", and he is 5'8" exactly, where Dave Johns is at least 3 inches taller than him. So, I mean, what does that matter? Because, in the end, Dave Johns wins, but I guess Casey would have had liked to win his class. But, I looked up on the internet and even through some old magazines that I have here, and every height that I came up for Dave Johns was 5'9". So, in the end, Dave Johns beat Casey in the medium class and went on to beat Salvador Ruiz and Bill Richardson for the overall Mr. Universe title. And I really wish there would have been some more comparative photos of them. All the magazines that I looked into were the surrounding months leading up to and after the competition, so I really can't find any. Maybe if you guys out there have a picture from the actual event, or maybe an oversight on my part, I didn't find it, please send some comparison photos. But I do have some shots that you've seen, throughout this video from the show, and, Casey looked great, especially for such a layoff. But this is what led to a lot of confusion. I feel like here's where more of the can of worms come out. A lot of misinformation. You can't really believe everything you read in these magazines. So, in this issue of Strength and Health, January 1979, the cover features Lindy Johnson and Casey, but on the inside cover, it describes Viator as the winner of his class. And then they say he got second overall, which I don't know how that would work out because there's two other weight classes that would have lost. But whatever. Obviously, you could see it's an oversight. Another weird piece of information I got was from an issue of Iron Man, and they actually, they don't say it, but they list Casey amongst the winners here, and it's weird. It doesn't say which placing, which category, but yeah, he's just floating around there. But yeah, the whole point of this video was to show you guys what Casey's training routine was leading up to the 1978 Mr. Universe competition. And I just want to note that he only used Nautilus equipment for his training. Thankfully, Cliff Brownfield, the author of this article, converted it to standard equipment that all of us can use. But if you're fortunate enough to have a hardcore gym in the area, even in the region, please go check it out. Nautilus equipment from the late 70s, early 80s is so cool. It's like playing with a fossil or something. I don't know how else to compare it. But this is a good piece of trivia. Less than a year later from this article being written about Casey, he actually competed in the IFBB's Canada Cup, where he placed fifth. So I guess never say never. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my page, tell your friends about it, share this video. I mean, there's going to be more to come, I promise, and it's going to be a lot quicker. But if you would like more information about this video in particular, go to my Instagram page at Retro Muscle Mags, and I'll have more pictures from the training routine and the article that I got most of this information from, some more pictures of Casey. So please stay tuned and see you next time.